Hello for the fourth Sunday of Easter, using the first reading from the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 2, verse 14, and verses 36 to 41. And then, of course, the Gospel, John 10, 1 to 10. And I titled this um, the sheep who, the sheep who listen. Because it's all about the Good Shepherd. Last week I only had one mass, and that was out at Keeneland in the pavilion. That's where they auction off all the horses. And I tried to use a little hokey homily helper, and I said, well, just look at all the fat cats in this room who make bids on horses for hundreds of thousands of dollars and even millions of dollars for one horse. And boy, do they try to recognize a good horse. Well, I think we have a good Messiah. And I think that's this feast day of this weekend, sort of. Jesus Christ is the good shepherd. And so I think it's sort of an interesting comparison. At least it helps me, even though there aren't too many sheep around. The good shepherd. All of this in recognizing Jesus. Like I tried to say, like they recognized a good horse, that they recognized Secretariat. Secretariat is perhaps the best horse ever. He only lost one race. He was the world's richest syndicated horse. The owner syndicated him 32 shares for $190,000 each, which is $6.08 million. She kept 3 of the shares. Made a lot of money. She had a good horse. But in today's reading, it's all about the Holy Land and a good shepherd. And Jesus was the good shepherd, as is written in our gospel today. We don't have too many sheep around us, but boy, in the Holy Land, in a desert area, they had a lot of sheep. And they were good and bad shepherds. But this author is trying to say, Jesus is our good shepherd. Why? One is because he had authority over the sheep. And then the most important thing is they listened to the shepherd. Authority. Well, the authority is that God has given him a group of people, and God's people. Jesus Christ came, sent by the Father, to talk to, instruct, and lead all people. And so, as many sheep very often are gated in, and it says there in the gospel, the gatekeeper gave did the gate, or gave the good shepherd charge of the sheep, and he took charge, but it only worked because they listened to him. He was a good shepherd. He protected them. He sort of prodded them. He led them to green grass, good areas, flowing water, and protected them from wild animals. And he was in another parable, talks about he went for the 1 in 100 to get the lost sheep. He had that authority given to him by the Father, and all the people of humankind are his flock. And we know that a good percentage of that flock follow Jesus, the Good Shepherd, because they listen to him. He's not only authority, but he leads them. He leads them to water in the desert, green grass in the hills in the desert. And he protects them in the desert from the wild animals. That is what it's all about. It's pretty simple. But the sheep have to listen. They know the tone of his voice. They know his appearance. They know when he's stern, when he's compassionate, when he's sympathetic. And they follow. And by golly, these poor little sheep in a big desert area in some place in the world are led to living waters, green grass, and protection. That's what Jesus is compared to, a good shepherd. Isn't that a powerful? My thing is, how well do I listen to Jesus? Do I take out time? Do I think deeply about who is God and who is Christ? Do I listen to Jesus, the Good Shepherd? It's not easy in a noisy world. It's not easy in a busy life. It's not easy because you can't see his face. You believe. Like Thomas, you finally believe, my Lord and my God. Do I really listen to that Jesus Christ who had a big heart? Well, to wrap it all, let me just tell you about Secretariat. We started with Secretariat. Sorry, Secretariat, perhaps the greatest horse. You know what? He had a big heart. You know, the heart in that horse flesh was almost 3 times the size of a normal horse's heart. I think it weighed about 22 pounds. That heart of Jesus, or that heart of Secretariat. I guess maybe when we think of that, maybe it's a little bit easier to say, how compassionate was the heart of Jesus? How sympathetic, how forgiving. I think some of these analogies or some of these comparisons that the authors of the Gospels quoting Jesus, he had a keen sense of knowing what the heck was going on. He knew those sheep, and those sheep knew him. Do you know Christ? Are you aware that Christ knows you? Hmm. Listen. Stop and listen. At first reading, in the Acts of the Apostles, as far as Peter and all the other 11 were preaching to the group, guess what? Those early Christians listened to them. We're called to listen to Christ, the Good Shepherd. Have a good day.